go live. There it is. It's live. Sorry, everybody. We're 4 minutes late. That was me. I had a lot of fun talking with Randall and Steve in the green room. I thought I was late and that they were already going. So anyway, welcome to Fantasy Island. I'm your host, Mr. Rourke. This is Randall Armstrong. And of course, Steve Ukraine. The heart of the Ghostbusters. I love saying that. Anyway, we're talking about They Live. Oh my God, I love this movie. I put it back in and Walker was walking by. He goes, "Didn't we just watch that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he sat down and watched. He's like, "Where are we?" And I'm like, "I don't know, we're about 30 minutes in." And he's like, he sat down and watched it with me at the bit for lunch. It was pretty fun. So somebody who's just seen it kind of doesn't care. Was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. Oh, this is where he finds the glasses and buries them in the trash." Anyway, I don't think we have to do any preamble, right? Everybody knows how good this show is. This movie. It's 1988. John Carpenter. Walker's doing something right now, but he wanted the first question for me to ask Randall because he knows Randall's got pacing issues with these old movies. And Walker's all about that. If you haven't told me what's up in the first 20 minutes, I don't care. And I don't think a third of this movie is done before they tell you really what's going on. So anyway, I don't want to put my thumb on the scale. Randall, take it away. What do you think of this movie?
I have come to chew bubblegum and talk about They Live.
That's it.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. It's funny that you mentioned the pacing issues.
No, it wasn't me. It was Walker. You have quite a reputation in our house. Because Walker, it took me a while to tell Walker, look, man, whenever you say pacing issues, that's kind of a dipshit millennial thing to say. Because movies are movies, and you have to take the movie at its own in its own thing. So I noticed when we did Unforgiven, you sort of was like, "Oh, I love Gene Hackman so much, and this movie's so great that I'm not even going to talk about pacing." But it's the same thing. The mid '80s, man, they movies get time to breathe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was trying to pinpoint where in the movie I was like, I'm totally invested in. And I want to say it's right as soon as he got the shades. Right as soon as he got the shades, from that point on, I'm hooked. The beginning, I'm watching and I'm going along with it, but I just feel like I'm waiting.
What did you feel like tonally? Because to guys like us, that's kind of an idea of 80s Reagan, the 80s Reagan economic stuff, which coincidentally, it really reads like now, if you ask me. Stuff that just happened in MacArthur Park in LA, you could totally see maybe all the kids had the glasses on and were running away from the ice guys that every fourth guy was one of those aliens.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they mentioned that resonates with what's going on today. And I think what I found to be very interesting is towards the end of the film, when the guys are entering the room, the meeting where everyone is congratulatory. Yeah. And they mentioned 2025. Say by 2025, we will have accomplished this and we will have done this and done that. So here I am watching it for the first time and I'm like, it's 2025. And it feels that way.
That's kind of amazing.
So yeah. But totally, yeah. I mean, what's weird is I feel like the tone of when I see this movie, it's hard to believe it's 88. I tend to think a lot of the later 80s movies, really just feel like early 90s movies. I suppose you could say vice versa, right? Early 90s movies feel like late 80s movies. But I just feel like when I saw that this was 88, for some reason I thought this came out before Big Trouble in Little China. You know, so I literally went through IMDb and I was like, okay, in what order were John Carpenter's films of release? And when I saw that this was 88, and it just felt like it was like, no, this feels like a mid 80s, early 80s film to me, not 88, you know, because in my mind, I'm like, this is 88. This is 1 year before the 1989 Batman film. I'm like, it doesn't feel like it, you know? It feels like the, you know, straight mid 80s. But I think that's just Carpenter's cinematography, the tone, like the way he does all of his films. They feel like they kind of just all match up, like in the same time period. I mean, essentially they are. They're all 80s films. But still, it just, that late in the 80s, I was just like didn't feel like it.
I love how you're like making the distinction between late 80s and early 90s. Where like,
Yeah.
Okay, like it's the same thing, right? Like, but I totally get what you're saying in terms of Carpenter, because he's in love with helicopters, like he is in Escape from New York, which is the other end of that decade, right? And man, his music is so good. I'm not a music guy, but for some reason, I really respond to his soundtracks.
Brilliant.
It's very.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think it's very, I don't want to say simple, but it's very like, it adds to the tone of the film, of course. Hey.
That's Timmy who does our music for Dork Trek.
Nice. And
that's cool.
I think
Two
they
favorite
came
Roddy
out,
Pipers.
I've never seen Hell Comes to Frogtown.
And they come, and I think they're both in 1988. I think that's the other Roddy Roddy Piper film that came out in 1988. So that's kind of.
Let me ask you guys this: do you think? Because you know, obviously, Kurt Russell's done a lot of movies with John Carpenter. Somewhere in the movie, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I feel like if Kurt Russell were in this film, like, would I like it more because he's in it? You know, because I thought Roddy did such a great job, but I also feel like I don't think it felt like Roddy wasn't like acting. It felt like, you know, like he's that guy.
Well, do you know there's a little backstory to that? That like,
see, this is why I'm so glad you had time for this, because you figured there's a backstory, and I don't know it.
Yeah, so I think Carpenter he goes to like WrestleMania like 2 or 3 or 4, meets Piper, and is just like, essentially, I think the rumor is he's essentially like, how is this guy not a movie star? He's like, he's got the look, he's the attitude, he's like, he should be in movies. And immediately was like, I think he immediately connects the dots on this script, screenplay, comic book thing that he's working on, which is They Live, which essentially is the comic, which is like a comic book, like I forget what the hell it's called, but it's like,
it's an 8-pager, man.
Yeah, it's like nothing. It's called like Nada. It's called like Nada or something like that. And it's something like that, right?
It's something really funny, like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
That's what it is.
It's Bruce. I don't know if you remember Bruce Jones, and the thing they did for Pacific, it was called Alien Worlds, and it had Dave Stevens covers, which is the only reason I know this.
Okay.
And I bought it back in the day because I was crazy for Dave Stevens. And it's a cute little nothing thing about a guy who, you know, uncovers the alien invasion. And that's it. It's like, you know, he gets up in the morning and stops an alien invasion because, you know, and that's it. That's it for the story. And they turn that whole thing into this crazy good movie. I'm just so thrilled. Anyway.
Well, yeah. So
that's a parentheses to your parentheses.
Yeah. So I think it's just like Carpenter meets him at like, I think Carpenter meets him at like a WrestleMania, and essentially like, this is Nada. This is the character, the guy I need. And then the other role is Frank, that he wrote specifically for what's his name, because he loves that actor. I can't think of what the hell his name is. Why is my brain? Keith David. Yeah, he loves Keith David. So he's like, Keith David, I could write a role for him in any movie I make. So
nice.
Well, the two of them are perfect. And I love the Street Preacher too. Those 3 characters are sort of a crazy Kirk, Spock, and McCoy to me in this one, where, you know, there's one guy that's all about the emotion, and one guy's literally blind, so you can't trick him the way that they're tricking other people. I don't know. There's tons of thought and layers into this, and it really, now in 2025, it totally reads to me like John Carpenter's just working out his dissatisfaction with Gordon Gekko. You know what I mean? It's
that's
I don't know.
interesting. Okay, so that's 88. That you just put my brain in a rabbit hole.
While we wait for Steve to do that, Randall, I got to tell you that we did those bookmarks, and oh my God, you're gonna love them, man.
Awesome, man.
Anyway, that was Steve's idea. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Well, I was like, we got to have something for this series, because I feel like it's just first off, I absolutely adore the idea that there are these films that you have not seen. I just, the concept boggles my mind. One, but again, you got to realize I grew up in the video store era, or Blockbuster. You know, like I worked in a video store.
So did I.
Yeah. So like the
no,
idea,
but like 10 or 15 years later, Randall, that's
right.
the thing.
So like my video store time was like in 1994. So like
late
different
80s, according to Randall.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's fascinating to me that like this would have been. Oh yeah, there you go.
It went on so long, Randall had to pause it. I love that.
No, that's one of the best scenes in the movie. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just this. Like,
just the old men are making fun of you, man. You got to.
No, I know.
I guess where my brain always goes is from like a science fiction perspective. I am always like, there are like these like quintessential directors that have made things, and it's kind of like, even if you said George Lucas, like you should see everything George Lucas has ever directed, just like John Carpenter. You should see everything John Carpenter has ever directed. And then when you actually realize and watch everything John Carpenter's ever made, you're also like, how is this guy not like, how is he not like on Mount Rushmore? Like, how are we still not letting him do whatever he wants? And if he wants to like talk about making a movie, can someone translate that and make that movie? Because like, again, like, how do you go from making, let's just do like Halloween, Escape from New York, The Thing, Starman, Big Trouble in Little China, They Live, like, how do you make these movies? Like, where is your
everyone you just noticed there is iconic.
Iconic.
Every time you have to like work to have it look like, that was kind of an okay John Carpenter movie. Like even The Fog.
I didn't mention. I didn't mention The Fog. I didn't mention Christine.
That's what I'm saying, like those movies, that would be the top of any other director's list. Well, it's kind of like mid-range Carpenter, right?
I look at it this way. He made Halloween, which is the quintessential horror slasher film, whatever you want to call it.
The birth of it.
He never makes another movie after that. He is a god in horror. He sits next to like Romero as like the creator of a genre, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. He then goes on. Then he makes all these other movies. Anyway, here's my. What did you think about? I had a question. I wrote down one question. What did you think about Meg Foster in this?
Oh, you know what's funny is my real experience of Meg Foster, because I'm a He-Man fan, so I remember her from Masters of the Universe. So when I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. She's in this movie. I feel like what's interesting about the movie was like, she was just, I think, the only real female type lead or, assisting character. There were a couple other females with like one or two lines, but Meg was like the main female like character of the film. So I thought she was good. I kind of wanted to see more of her a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, it's the Roddy show, it's the Roddy show. So it's like the movie's about him and honestly, just the camaraderie between him and Keith David, like, man, like it makes me want to see, like, I bet you there's like an alternate universe.
That's okay.
Where like Roddy and Keith David are like doing Broadway together, you know, and it's like, you know, I bet you like people are just like watching it, loving like every performance, like every night that those guys perform, like they just work really well together. They have great chemistry together. So the two of those guys, like, dude, they could have been fighting Muppets, you know, and it's like, movie's fantastic. It's great, you know, like more, you know.
I kind of want to see the world where I have to read Roddy Piper bio or something, because even down to his hair, he kind of looks like Kurt Russell's like rugged older brother. Like Kurt gets to be quippy and kind of clever and fast on his feet because he knows his older brother is, you know, beating up the guys that are giving him shit.
Yeah.
And so how do you not take that guy's presence and make that guy into a movie star? And the answer probably is because he didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know? Because, you know, look at Clive Owens. He's the perfect James Bond walking around when he's 35. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And so it seems kind of weird to the audience. Like, why would you not want to make all that money? But it's like, no, because you know, that doesn't fit my scene and where I want to go. So that has to be the answer, because it's so perfect. Like, I would love to see, like, can you imagine Kurt and Roddy in like Executive Decision or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We just watched Heads of State. Have you guys heard about that?
Oh, the John Cena one?
Yeah, John Cena.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to see that.
Oh, Randall, you would love it. But it's like, it's just because it's a late 80s movie. It's just fantastic. You're like quipping along. It's late 80s with a modern thing. No one's going to have trouble with pacing with that movie. And it's so bananas that even Mimi liked it. At the end of it, she was like, all right, I got to give it to him. That was pretty good. Anyway, that's what I see, you know, late 80s Kurt and Roddy Piper doing, is that kind of movie.
Well, I will watch it because it's the director who did Hardcore Henry, which I absolutely adore.
Oh my God.
And it's the guy who did Nobody.
Yes.
So,
it's you know what it is?
Yeah, I like that movie.
Let me shorthand it for you. It's the kind of movie that the guy who wrote Nobody and the guy who directed Hardcore Henry would do.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
and it's got John. I like John Cena. He gets a bad rap.
All the humor in Nobody is like turned up to 11 for this, and all of the motion sickness stuff from Hardcore Henry is turned down with still being badass action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's totally two guys that figured out how to work together. It's really good, and it fits the theme of the movie, right? Because the two heads of state are two guys that have to try to figure out a way to work together. And can I just,
like I don't want to reunion.
I'm not spoiling anything to tell you this, but my new favorite actor, Jack Quaid, is in it.
Oh,
and he plays he plays my favorite kind of character, the dopey wise ass guy in the Hawaiian shirt that just comes in and does crazy shit. And at the end of it, you're like, I could watch a whole movie with that guy. You know what I mean? That's so. Anyway, the only reason I went off on that tangent is to say that that's the kind of movie tonally that They Live is to me, even though they turned up the like bread and circuses, because the world is more obviously fucked now than it was in the late 80s. But that's what makes this movie so prescient, is because John Carpenter had his finger on the pulse of what was going on, and he just turned the GOP into aliens. But like, it's, you know, not the GOP, but like that that late Reagan 80s mindset.
Well, so to add to your question, the thing you added earlier, Wall Street came out in 87. So the year before this is made, he's watching Michael Douglas in Wall Street, and he is like, man, I hate this yuppie scum. I need to make, I'm making a movie about this.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I mean, I'm sure that was part of it, but like a third of it definitely is just reading the newspaper, right? Like, it was very clear that there was some of this going on, right? That and how cool to use science fiction to he's just body blowing those people, and they don't see it coming, which is thematically what's going on in the film. It's just every way you hold this little perfect cut of diamond of a movie up to the light, it sparkles. Like the casting's perfect, the music's perfect, the tone is perfect, the themes are perfect. But you can watch it as like this crazy like fisticuffs thing if you want. I don't know. I love the satire. And it wasn't last year, it was the year before. Remember we saw the cheerleader girl wearing that mask at San Diego? And so like it's relevant to modern times, but I would make the argument I've seen that movie once a year since it came out, and it's always relevant. I get different things out of it every time, but I mean that's an achievement. All right, I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, I was raising my hand because I was going to say I've never seen Wall Street. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of ironic because I just read that like Michael Douglas is like retiring from acting. I don't know if you saw that.
I did, yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if my favorite Michael Douglas movie is Black Rain. If you've never seen Black Rain, that movie.
Oh, I love that.
Friggin' spectacular.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen the whole film.
That's spectacular. For a start to finish kind of film. I forget who directs that, but it's
Michael Crichton, right?
Is it Crichton? Now I'm going to go another rabbit hole. But anyway,
he definitely wrote it. I thought he directed it too, but he definitely wrote it.
But the beauty of Michael Douglas is like Michael Douglas can play almost any role and be amazing in it. So like he is absolutely spectacular in Wall Street. And I guarantee you, I still like John Carpenter watched it and hated it. He probably hated that movie. Black Rain is awesome.
There's Matt.
There you go. Thank you.
Ridley Scott.
Thanks, couldn't think of who it was, but yeah. No, man, They Live, man. This movie is like, again, like I was saying before, like you could take every movie that he's ever made, and the only movie he ever directed would be They Live, and you would say, this guy is
he didn't have to do.
He didn't have to do any more movies. You know what I mean?
So I got to ask Steve, top 3 Carpenter films.
Top 3 Carpenter films. So I have a weird thing. So They Live is easily number 1. I've always loved They Live. I'm also a huge Shepard Fairey fan. So I love like the Obey piece of this, like Larry with those printed pieces of dollar bills. I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna take them from him because I want those.
That's why I made 3. Honestly, I put one in my wallet and I'm mailing one to you and one to Randall.
Thank you. Well, put it actually when you send me the book, put it in my book as a bookmark.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
But anyway, I love They Live. And then I'm actually a huge fan of In the Mouth of Madness. I also think that's a brilliant movie. And the third, I could never pick a third one because it would honestly be like The Thing, Halloween, The Fog, Prince of Darkness, Big Trouble. Like because the problem with John Carpenter is I kind of feel like he has mastered the ability of like picking out like the science fiction or horror genre and making a masterful movie in that kind of like subgenre of it. So it's like Prince of Darkness, I think, is like a great like haunted house film. Halloween is like,
that's my top 3. Except
and then Escape from New York, which I have where's my poster? I don't even know. I think it's in the other room.
I'd swap The Thing with They Live, but those would be my top 3.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Escape from New York.
Yeah, I was waiting.
And I spent $1 billion on a original poster for it. So
because that's just a given.
Yeah,
that's not in the top 3. That's probably number 1.
But I think that is the absolute beauty of John Carpenter, because you could talk to anyone, and depending on I think it's actually depending on the order of what movie you've seen first of him is going to be like highly critical of what you think your favorite is. Like I grew up with Big Trouble and They Live. Like that's like video store They Live, taking that VHS and watching that, like that kind of is synonymous in my head.
No, I think you nailed it, man. Like I just did a self-reflect when you said based on when you were exposed to it and watching Order. And so I think the first movie I remember of Carpenter is Big Trouble. It's like the first one. And then eventually The Thing. So that, and then Escape from New York.
Yeah, Escape from New York was my first one. Actually, I love that. That was when I was a senior in high school. Had a date, took the girl to it. Date was great. Movie was great. Everything was great. So I'm gonna say that's my number one John Carpenter movie forever. But then Big Trouble and They Live. Those are the top three easy.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I think I think if you lean horror, like how could like, again, I know, Larry, you are completely not a horror fan, but
no, but if you said top three horror movies, not even John Carpenter, you have to put Halloween in there. I've probably seen Halloween 40 times because that was playing on HBO,
right?
All the time, and that's undeniably a great movie,
right?
Like even if you don't dig on it, like
right,
iconic music. Yeah,
just
theme,
everything.
Right?
Everything's iconic. Donald Pleasance as a good guy. That's iconic. Like nobody was having that thought back then. Like everything about it. And then, he's wearing a William Shatner mask.
Oh,
yes, yes, please. Everything about Halloween. I'm like, yeah, and not even mention Jamie Lee Curtis. Just everything. Just anything you could tick off. I'd be like, yes, of course. And that's all in one film. Even me, I have to say, yes, that's the best eggplant parmesan ever. Anyway,
so there's been rumbling rumors for the past few years that Sandy King wants to do a remake of this, or not a remake, but a sequel of this,
like an update.
Yeah. But I just wondering what you would think. Like, could they pull off a sequel to this, or
Alan Richardson?
What's his name? The Reacher guy?
Yeah.
So you even have John?
You would do a complete remake?
No, I mean, I think I'd be more intrigued to see a sequel because, the movie, the way it set everything up, it's revealed to the world, like the aliens are there. So it's like, you could probably do a fast forward 5-10 years and you got like the resistance and, like the war going on and more information.
No, you wouldn't do that. Here's what it's called. They Still Live. And the aliens, it took that long for them to realize that the broadcasts weren't coming back. And so they show up and then it's a big deal. So you have everybody went underground. You can't see me, right? Everybody acts like normal people. And then they're all reactivated sleeper cells. And then you get to do a commentary on what's happening now. Where, you know what I mean? That's how I would do it. Sorry. I went to Maine for a week and I just chilled by the lake. And my cousins aren't, pop culture folks. They're all like super academics. So everybody, what? You don't understand that Willie Joe Johnson is the best well-known Irish singer in America, folk singing from 1950. I'm like, what are you talking about? The best Irish singer in America is Bono, I would imagine. And they're like, oh, absolutely not. It's like, what? So I'm so excited to be talking about this stuff. I ordinarily interrupt everyone anyway, but now I'm just like, oh my God, you guys! So happy to see you.
Society.
Escape from New York. Anyway.
Well, so
that's why.
What was I was gonna say something about the obey portion of it. That to me is like, that's the art direction piece of this. I think is like a whole nother element that kind of gets like, that shit is fantastic. That like,
it gets glossed over because it's so perfect. It sells the whole, like, all this is going on right under your nose visually, which the visual storytelling is bananas. And the only way you do that is with props and shot composition. And it's killer. Everything you look at in this movie is killer. And they did it for a shoestring budget and just lots of brains.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I wish movies were still done like this. I really do.
So there's a funny story. I guess the head of their stunt coordination is this Asian guy named, like, I think it's like John Akari or Ikarari or something like that. And he's their stunt coordinator. So he's the one that's working with them to do the whole stunt fight, like when they do that fight. And supposedly they train for like 3 weeks to do that, which is kind of crazy to think about it, because like Roddy Piper is like a professional wrestler and everything is scripted, like everything he does. So, but it was just like between him and Keith David, they couldn't get it down. So long story short is I guess long story long, the stunt coordinator, they kept on having problems with the actors that were wearing the alien mask for some reason. And so then the guy in charge of stunt coordination essentially plays every alien in the mask. And because the way they do the cutscenes is kind of like, he wears the glasses, then you look and it's black and white, and it's because they did that specific kind of shot, they were able to put, obviously the guy would sit in the makeup chair, get the mask on, get in the cop costume, and then go sit up, and they would kept on like, so it kind of almost what Matt was saying, like it was kind of like really like cheap. It was like a cheap film trick to do.
Yeah,
but it works so well.
Oh,
it's like, because if you think about it now, when you like play it in your head, you're like, okay, every time he does look, it's black and white. It's kind of, it almost looks like it's filmed on some weird camera. Like it never looks right. And because they're actually using the same actor in different clothes in the alien mask, like and like, I guess there's one scene where a cop is walking up to them, normal looking, and then he has the glasses on, and then when you look back at them, he's the alien. The actor is essentially like, I think something like 10 inches shorter than the original cops, so they had to put him on like a box. There's such tremendous like backstories of this movie about, like, again, these like low budget video tricks that John Carpenter did, and now you look back at it and you're like, Jesus Christ, that is so brilliant that you put this into the film, because it works so well. But it was done because the guys that they hired to wear the masks weren't able to wear the masks, and they had a guy that he worked with before that would do pretty much anything. And actually the like I said, long story long, the gift that the stunt coordinator was given is, I don't know if you remember towards the end of the scene when they blow everything up and they're panning through all the places, there's the one guy in bed with the naked girl.
Yeah.
It's the same actor, and that was like their gift to him at the very end of, like,
thanks for all your hard work.
Thanks for all your hard work. Here, the final scene is going to be you
Salma
with
Hayek pouring whiskey down her leg, right?
Exactly. So I thought that was kind of cool, because but it's just I don't know. It just, the film, the cinematography, it's just so good. It's just so good. Every element of it.
Wait, Randall, let's just get this out, because we have a cute thing going on here about low budget film. They said when we were talking about the Shatner mask, says, why did Carpenter choose that? And of course Shivers knows. It's the nature of the beast in low budget filmmaking, right? You can go buy one for $10 at the Woolworths, 5 and dime, cut the eyes out and mess up the hair, and it doesn't look like Shatner anymore.
Spray paint it white and call it a day.
Yeah, that scene was in the original comic, so I guess that guy he didn't have trouble shooting it. How funny is that, though? That I hope it was the guy playing the old lady when Nada figures it out.
Oh, and she's like, "We have one."
I hope that's the same dude.
I don't know. I'll have to see if they clarify.
Or I hope it's that same old lady, and they like had to glue shit to her face and just go, "Hey, you get extra $20 and another ration of rum, old lady." And she's like, "I love show business."
Yeah. Anyway. So I guess. So Randall, what Carpenter films have you seen now? Give me the rundown of everything you've taken in.
Let me pull up the IMDb real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Well, we know you saw Starman, because that's why we watched this one. At the end of Starman, we were like, I was like, yeah,
Starman. I know I've seen Halloween. I've seen. Let me see here. Obviously, I think all of the Kurt Russell films that he did with him.
Okay, so The Escape from New York, Escape from Law, The Thing, Big Trouble.
What's great was a buddy of mine years back. We were talking about like just doing like a movie night, and he loved Escape from New York. I told him, hey, I'd never seen it, and he had never seen The Thing.
Oh.
So we watched Escape from New York, and I told him, dude, you got to watch The Thing. So the following week we watched The Thing, and he was like, oh man, this is such a great movie, and it's like, he was like, we were both like enjoyed it. We both were happy, it's like, hey, we got to experience new John Carpenter films, and they were both great. And Kurt Russell, of course, is awesome.
Well, you can't go wrong with any of the Kurt Russell John Carpenters, even Escape
you know what?
Oh, go on.
Sorry. There is another John Carpenter film I do want to see that Kurt Russell's in. It's the Elvis movie.
Oh yeah, that's TV movie.
TV.
I think that's, you know what, that came out a year before Escape from New York, so I saw.
Yeah.
That's the first one I saw, because my mom is a giant Elvis fan, and my dad wouldn't shut up about the computer or wore tennis shoes is playing Elvis. All right,
the old Disney,
all right, Shirley.
Disney star.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the coolest thing about that is Kurt Russell acted with Elvis
when he was a kid.
He was a kid.
Yep.
And then played Elvis, and then years later did a movie called 3,000 Miles to Graceland where he plays an Elvis impersonator. So he's kind of hit every Elvis persona you could, or every, I guess, Elvis film thing you could do,
Yeah, the iterations of Elvis. My favorite Elvis thing is
seen.
There's a science fiction book called The Elvis Mandible, and the cover is just a jawbone, and it's Elvis. And I just think that's great. That's my favorite Elvis thing. In the future, his jaw is a holy relic.
Oh.
that the aliens worship. It's pretty cool. Anyway, sorry. What else, Randall?
So he did a movie called Dark Star. I haven't seen that.
That's his first one. That's about as low budget sci-fi as you could ever imagine.
Man.
Okay.
The aliens
Assault on Precinct 13. I haven't seen that one.
It's good. It's another one of those. Like, I think that's late. Is that early 70s? So that's early 70s. So it's really about like counterculture, like against the police.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a weird setting. It plays well. They remade it a couple years ago with Lawrence Fishburne. But Ethan Hawke, that's right. But I actually think the original is pretty solid. You're not going to really recognize a lot of the actors or actresses in it.
Okay.
Because I think it's kind of before like John Carpenter like gets his like primetime players, and then I think that's one unique thing about also that, and he was married to Adrian Barbeau for a bit, but it's like he figures out who he wants in a lot of stuff. It's 76. Okay, so I knew it was 70s. But it's not a Larry watch it movie. That's a you watch it kind of thing.
Oh, I watched the Assault on Precinct 13 and the taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 and this back-to-back, Saturday morning. It's raining out, so I just watched TV, and I loved both of those movies, just because I was kind of trapped inside, making the best of it. But you guys have had that experience. That takes all of your focus and attention.
Oh yeah,
it's like there's nothing else going on. So let's watch this. Oh, I love both of those movies. I would have said about 73, though. Although I
thought it was earlier. I didn't realize it was 76.
It feels like an earlier movie. I was going to make fun of Randall for going, oh, that's not a late 80s movie. That's an early 90s movie. And that happens to me in the middle of decades.
Wow.
Like I will think something is 73 instead of 76 or so. That's a funny one because it's the 70s movies to me is before and after Star Wars. So I'm pretty good if a movie came out after Star Wars.
Yeah,
you only get 78 or 79, right?
My brain immediately thought Warriors came before Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah, me too.
But it didn't. Warriors is 79, which then means John Carpenter with Assault on Precinct 13 100% influenced the Warriors.
Oh, of course.
And it's just like now I didn't even go down that rabbit hole in my brain because I like Assault on Precinct 13. I love the concept of it. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he did create like the gang turf war kind of like rebellion film. Jesus Christ. This is John Carpenter, man. Too much, man. Too much.
The Fog is another one I haven't seen.
Awesome.
Yeah. I did watch Christine when I was a kid, so I feel like if I were to watch it now, it's just looking at it from a different point of view perspective. So I think it would feel fresh to me. Obviously, Big Trouble. Prince of Darkness I haven't seen. I keep forgetting he did Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which I really love.
It's a good movie.
Is Prince of Darkness, is that the one with Scott Bakula?
No, No, you're thinking of Lord of Illusion, and that's Clive Barker.
Yeah,
Clive Barker, of course. Yeah.
Donald Pleasance was in it.
Oh, Prince of Darkness is this. It's like I said, Prince of Darkness is a unique haunted house film, and if you go into it with the concept of it is a haunted house with something in the house that's causing it's a fascinating film. I actually really enjoy it. It's also one of the movies where he grabs a lot of his primetime players. So Pleasance is in it. Egg Shen from Big Trouble Little China's in it. And then one of the other gentlemen, I can't think of, not Kurt Russell, but his buddy in it. He's in it as well. Good movie. But again, it's essentially a haunted house film. It's not sold like that, but once you watch, I've seen it like 50 times.
Have you really 50 times?
Oh, I love Prince of Darkness and Alice Cooper. It's because it's, I don't know. I'm not. It's like, it's a church.
It's the cover. Is that what it is?
Probably. Do I have that on DVD? I don't think I have that on DVD or VHS.
I'm looking at the cover of it, and honestly, it has a 70s feel to it.
Yeah, that cover really does not sell it. But long story short, there's like a church, and in the church they find like this like canister of this liquid, and essentially the liquid is like pure evil. And it's like, and when you're trying to find out what is in the cylinder that is in, and it's been like hidden by like the church for like thousands of years.
Did Prince of Darkness come out before Poltergeist or after Poltergeist?
I don't know what year did Prince of Darkness come out? That's 1987.
Prince of Darkness says here 87.
Oh my God.
87. Good Lord.
Yeah. Poltergeist 82. So Poltergeist is pretty early. Right. And that's Spielberg. So
yep.
I don't think Spielberg stole from, he could have been influenced by Carpenter, but probably not for Poltergeist.
You're 100% right about the Warriors, though.
Right?
Yeah. I never put that together.
Me neither. And I was like, you know what it is? It's just like when you see Assault on Precinct 13, the element of like the gang, like it's kind of not, it's a part of the story, but it's kind of a small thing. And then as it builds and like as more of the gang kind of shows up, you're just kind of like, I can't think of who directed Warriors, but they're just like, oh, I like that. We should make a movie about that, about the gang piece of it.
Yes,
man, if I ever get John Carpenter's ear, I want to hear what he thinks about the Warriors. That would be an interesting.
What do you mean, man? You know, next year or the year after, you're going to go get the collection of all those books from his house. You know you are. It's going to happen. They're probably turning down other people because they want you to have it because they know you care so much.
I doubt it, but maybe.
Well, Steve, let me ask you this: since you're a big John Carpenter fan, did you manage to get the comic book that he wrote with DC Comics?
I didn't, but I will tell you, I am such a fan that I found out that he was signing at a comic book shop in like some random place in Texas.
Yeah.
I called the store in Texas and said, I can't come to Texas, but would you have him sign an Escape from New York print that I'm going to mail you, personalize it to me, and then mail it back to me, and I'll pay whatever the cost is for everything. And they were like, yeah, we can do that for you. And I have it sitting on my
we're gonna
wall.
see it.
Where is
yes.
it? Can you see the red chair? The red seat up to the corner of that is my Steve John Carpenter Escape from New York. And then there's my other Escape from New York poster as well. My original.
That's awesome.
Yep. So anyway.
Good old John Carpenter. See, he wants you to have those books, man.
And I have my Sandy King Carpenter signed Sutter Kane T-shirt that she signed.
Speaking of that, you have to do a John Carpenter thing for Volume 3 just so we can use those photos. And Walker is really cross that picture of you and Lloyd isn't the fucking cover. And I have to say, well, if he hadn't thought about it at the last second, maybe we could have done that. But that's a great pick, man.
That's my online pick too, so that's fine. That we'll get another good one this year, I think.
All right.
I'll find someone else. This year when I meet I don't know. Who am I meeting this year? Somebody. I got to find a random celeb to take a picture with. I
love that the back cover of Randall Steve's collection has got a picture of Robert Downey Jr. What's the bottom one? Oh, Joel McHale. And then there's a picture of him where he's like 5 or something, watching TV.
I think I'm like sleeping on my
in his own house.
Monster, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, that's what we all do, right? I was trying to get a picture of him and Ron Perlman but he came up with this better one.
I think the Lloyd Kaufman one made more sense than the Toxic Avenger.
It made so much sense that I was mad it wasn't the cover. Like, why is this the last minute picture?
Well, maybe when I write a Troma book, we'll do that.
Oh man, maybe that's what Volume 3 is, like something themed, right? You pick 3 directors and alternate their things for the whole. I don't know.
Oh, I could do that. Because I could do one about like the Troma films I like, Sergeant Kabuki Man and all that random stuff.
Well, take like Lloyd and John Carpenter and some third guy that I don't know that you love.
Cronenberg, but I've written Cronenberg.
Yeah. There you go. And just alternate it, all 3 of them. That's thematically, the careers are, they belong in the same part of the library, right?
True.
So, yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, you're late on Volume 3 now. We just I just approved the proof of the book today. So, of course, that's a typical publisher thing to say. Oh, don't rest on your laurels. Don't take 24 hours and go, phew, I really sprinted to the end on that one. No, you're late on Volume 3. Thanks. That's where we're at.
Back to Carpenter. Have you ever seen In the Mouth of Madness?
No.
Another really good one.
Let me see who's in that real quick.
Sam Neill is the star.
Okay.
And it's completely
David Warner.
Yeah.
I've always liked David Warner. John Glover? Oh man. Charlton
Heston's in it. But the coolest part about it is it's essentially like a writer is writing a book and John Carpenter and Sam Neill is like the publisher.
Yeah.
And it's the author is Sutter Kane, and it's people are reading the next Sutter Kane book, and then they're all going insane after they read the book.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So it's also quality. Hey, listen, there is not a bad John Carpenter film. I will say that.
I agree.
Even Escape from Allah is funny at times, but super cool. Like
Dude, I love that movie. That movie's unfairly maligned.
Oh, I agree.
It's got so many great character actors, man. What Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, Bruce
and
Campbell.
Then you also got the great Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
I mean, there's so. I mean, Pam Grier's in it. Was Pam Grier in that one?
Yes, Pam Grier.
I saw Escape from L.A. before I saw Escape from New York.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's hurtful.
Well, I mean, you know what it is? It's good old fashioned 90s
travesty
marketing. 90s marketing, right? I remember like they were promoting the film on television, and I always was caught, the scene where he's like, you need to make the shot, the basketball, or you're dead. You see him like throwing the basketball, and then I think what was the other
dude? He made that shot.
Yeah, I know.
Like of all the computer animation and all that trick photography that's in that movie, he actually made that full shot.
I had heard he shot it like 3 or 4 times, and I think it was like on the 3rd or 4th time he made that shot.
It went in. I'm just loving in the comments, like Matt Shivers is like, I'm sad he's not on because he's got something to say about this one. I think that's cool.
I'm excited for the new Toxic. I've been getting the new Toxic Avenger comic.
Oh yeah, they did a comic.
Are they drawing him like Dinklage, or are they drawing him like Toxie?
Like Toxie.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Like I
continue.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Toxic Avenger. What's funny was I became a fan because of the animated series.
Oh, that's
I had not seen any of the live action films. I technically still haven't. I mean, I've browsed through some of the films. I bought the collection on DVD, and I was bored one day, and I was kind of like zipping through the DVD, not doing a proper watch. I was just like, oh, I don't have time to watch a movie, but I really want to see some Toxic Avenger. So I was just like, flipping through like scenes, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll have to go back and like binge watch it.
Agreed.
I actually don't think you only need to see the Toxic Avenger, the first one, once.
Okay.
Just to understand just to get the gist of the character, the origin, and his girlfriend and all that stuff. But you could speed watch the first one in 15 minutes. I never watched the first one. I love the second one. And I am a very, very big fan of the third one. And then ironically, as I was writing the article for the second one, I realized that they actually filmed them both at the same time, which is why I like them so much, because it's all the same actors. Everything's the same. It feels like it's one really long movie. And then ironically, they're actually cutting it into one movie right now.
Oh, okay.
Probably to make it, probably so Lloyd can have something to sell to make some more money when the new Toxic Avenger comes out. But it's fun, it's gory, it's stupid, it's comedy. I love the Toxic Avenger, and it's just such a cool, random concept with
it's very Jersey.
Yeah, 100% New Jersey.
But that's why you love it, man. You're like, oh yeah, Jersey's got its own superhero.
That's right. I've never been to Tromaville, but I look for it every time I go home. So,
nice.
I actually just bought the Toxic Crusaders animated series on DVD recently.
That's solid, man. I love those cartoons. I'm also a big fan of, if you've ever seen this one.
Yeah, I remember watching. How many of the Sergeant Kabuki Man films did they make?
They only made one because I don't think it played well, and I also don't think it sat right with a lot of people.
I was gonna say, even back in the day, that's pretty. What are you thinking, Lloyd?
Well, then has the character appeared in other Trauma films?
100%. Yeah. Like every costume that has ever been used in a Trauma film is essentially sitting in the room next to Lloyd Kaufman's office. So like if they need stuff, they just go into there and they just bring it out. And like, so he shows up in a ton of stuff. That's why Toxie shows up. That's why Toxic Avenger in every movie shows up looking differently, because they go into the office and they take a different Toxic Avenger costume. Because there's like 10 of them. And you're just like, that's not the same Toxic Avenger every time? Nope, because there's like 10 of them in that room.
Yeah, anyway. All right, if we could choose for next week, Steve, give us what kind of movie do we need? Because I got to have some dinner. I got to get going.
Yes,
but we haven't chosen next week's, and I won't have anything to talk to Randall about on Sunday without me having him film. Go, hey man, what are we doing again?
What do you guys want to do? Do you want to do a comedy? Do you want to do
I don't know. We did.
Do you want to do like a serious? Do you want to do something like Black Rain? I mean, you've never seen that, right, Randall?
Right. I mean, I've seen snippets, but like, no, I haven't sat down and watched the entire film.
I mean,
twist my arm to watch a Ridley Scott movie, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's like
let's do Black Rain. That's a good one because we haven't really done a what.
Fascinating thing about Black Rain. So I have just I have a question I'm gonna propose. I'm gonna share with you after you watch it, and I'm just gonna add it to this. So tell me after you watch it. I'm gonna share with you a question that came up as I was watching it one time. So I'm going to make a note of it. I'm going to write it down for myself to send it to you. So you guys watch them on Sunday? Is that when you generally watch it?
No, I try to do it at some point, but the last couple times I've not only put it off because of all the stuff that's going on, but like then I also forgot. And so I just the last couple of times like, hey Randall, what are we watching? I don't even know. And he's like, hey bro. And then the funny thing, I've smartened up and I've gone to like the end of each episode that we do and try to like scroll through and go
find out what did we say we were going to watch.
Yeah, Starman. I should watch Starman. Right. Okay. Anyway, Black Rain. I like Black Rain because I actually read the book first because I'm pretty sure that. Or wait, no, I'm thinking of the one that had Michael Douglas and Sean Connery in it. What's that one?
Michael Douglas, Sean Connery.
I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing everything.
Wait, are you thinking of Rising Sun?
Rising Sun. That's
Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery.
Okay, I'm a racist. That's the Crichton one.
Yes, but this is the Japanese neo-noir thriller.
Right.
You know, where they're based in New York and then they go to Japan and then it's all based.
Yes, this is a great movie. I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, Kate Capshaw, beautiful.
Some floozy.
Yeah,
it wasn't Kate Capshaw. She was married to Steven Spielberg by then. We had dated earlier, but
Kate Capshaw is in Black Rain and she's smoking in it. So
anyway. What name a movie she's not smoking in? She's awesome.
Yeah,
she's one of those Karen Allen kind of actresses that she's just when she's in the movie, she's in that movie. You know, you don't think of her like, oh, Tom Cruise playing Reacher. Okay, I'll see it, but I don't like it. You know, they just are like, she's great in everything, Kate Capshaw, except for Space Camp. Let's not talk about that with me.
Oh, she was just.
I like Space Camp.
Okay, I was just talking about Kate Capshaw being in it.
I've been plowing through my westerns. I watch a lot of westerns, and I just rewatched the Sam Elliott Quick and the Dead, and she's in that too, and she looks great in that.
That's cool.
That's a good movie too. If you've never seen that, but you know it's Sam Elliott.
I'll have to add it to the list, man. There's quite a bit of westerns. I was telling Larry, I haven't seen the Man with No Name trilogy.
Oh,
I know. Like we don't have time to like teach you how to do addition and
again, you're well. You know what though? You did watch Unforgiven, which I love. That's my favorite Western. It's my father's second favorite Western. His favorite Western is The Searchers.
Yeah, I see that.
And then I'm a big fan of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for a fistful of dollars and for a few dollars more. I think watch them in any order you want. You will absolutely adore them. And then once you go down that rabbit hole, then you're watching like the Sabata films and The Return of Sabata and like Outlaw Josie Wales. And then it's just like, then before you know it, then you're watching Django, which is why I love Django. And then you're watching like every iteration of Django switching letters around. And in Italy, they made a Western with random letter, Jalango, anyway. I could chat with you about Westerns for 9 hours.
Maybe we should, like, because you mentioned everything, but I was like, you throw El Topo in there, and like that's pretty much I seriously love that movie. Oh, it's insane, but Come on, that's your guy Alejandro, right? Exactly. Oh, you got it. Yeah, look at that, man. He got it. That's autographed.
That's awesome.
Deal. Yeah, when you come up and visit us, we'll get some ninja costumes and go to Steve's house and just break in and steal all the good stuff.
Yeah, just don't. I have 20 cameras, so you'll be on camera. That's all I'll say. So
no, I'll create a suit that blends in with your posters.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull a Steve Martin from Pink Panther.
I like it.
Blend into the wall.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you guys should do the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or do you think it's too long?
I'd do that. I honestly look what Shiver said. He's been saying this almost once every. We should give it to him. Do you want to do Amazon Woman on the Moon?
I do love comedies.
All right, let's do that, but let's keep those westerns in mind. We did Unforgiven, kind of started at the top, but
yeah,
man, when I did that bookmark and put our list of things that we'd done already, I'm like, that's a pretty defensible list, man. If there's no fat on those bones.
No,
no.
And so Steve came up with a good idea, and he's like, let's do a little cross promotion because that's a good bookmark for his book too, right? Like
100%.
If you're interested in Steve's book, you might have an in for like, what? Randall didn't watch any of these? That's insane.
Well, like I said, it's a different tier. It's like it. I think, which is why I love that you do this, and which is why I'm like Randall. It's super cool that you kind of like watch all these movies at the same time, because it's also like it's fascinating to me as someone who watches so much shit for someone to have. I miss stuff. I was just telling Larry and Mark last night. I was watching National Treasure 2. I never saw that. I swore I'd seen it 1,000 times. Or at least seen it. I never saw it, and I was watching it last night.
I recently bought a 25 film collection of Nicolas Cage, and of course, at least slightly more than half of them are, of course, like the straight to DVD Blu-ray movies. But I'm like watching the trailers on all of these, and I'm just like, damn, this looks like a fun film to watch, just because of like Cage's performance alone.
Yeah, that's another one we could go down a rabbit hole on Nicolas Cage. Well, maybe there's another offshoot of this. Wait, have you not seen this, Larry? But I know Larry's going to go make dinner, and I'm going to go be dad. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think of Amazon Woman on the Moon and a young Michelle Pfeiffer. So,
sounds good. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Randall.
Thanks, man.
Matt.
Oh, and what took me so long to watch They Live?
It's not a real show unless you do our catchphrase, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Later, guys.